Have you ever wondered why some people seem to possess unshakable inner strength, while others crumble at the first sign of difficulty? Most yearn for the fruits of discipline without committing to practicing it consistently. They yearn for rapid transformation at their own pace, without facing the inconveniences that actually shape it. However, semen retention works over time, without a miracle cure, and doesn't reward impatience. The first few days can be electrifying, as if something is happening. But the real change is slower, almost imperceptible. The brain expects fireworks, but what it really needs is constant friction. Day after day, old habits try to creep back in. Every time you say no, not through brute force, but through mental clarity, something reconnects internally. A new current is created within you, not to impress anyone, but to rebuild your foundations from the inside out. The more you maintain this line, the more your nervous system will begin to completely rewrite itself. It's not about pushing yourself, but about learning to maintain your energy, focus, and intention. Over time, this maintenance becomes your baseline operating state. You begin to operate from your strength instead of desperately seeking it. You stop chasing intense emotions because you've trained your system to generate constant stability. This is what delayed gratification does. It sharpens your perspective. You no longer act out of a search for temporary relief. You act because you've become someone who builds regardless of their mood. This is pure determination. This is true retention. And this is how 400 days not only transforms your biology, but also completely reshapes your identity. Section 1, Day 130. The first day might be like a drop in the ocean. Nothing changes outwardly, but beneath the surface, something old is stirring. Brain circuits, saturated by years of easy pleasures, begin to awaken from their slumber. Dopamine, once pumped into the system as cheap fuel, begins to recalibrate. The brain no longer expects immediate rewards. It's learning to be patient again. We feel this in strange ways. Restlessness, cravings, irritability, but it's not weakness, it's withdrawal. The limbic system, which manages emotions and pleasure, is trying to regain control. Every time you resist your old patterns, you rewrite what pleasure means to your brain. By the second or third week, your emotional life begins to change. The fog lifts in brief but intense moments. You begin to perceive the space between impulse and action. This space is essential. It is where your true power lies. The prolactin levels that persist after the release and dampen your ambition begin to drop. Testosterone whispers to your body. You begin to feel more alert in the morning, more motivated in the evening. Not every day is perfect. There will be setbacks, impulses, moments when everything seems hopeless, but something is stabilizing beneath it all, as if your biology is reorganizing itself layer by layer. By the end of the month, your awareness sharpens. Emotional triggers that once weighed you down now flicker, like lights on a board. You can see them, name them, pause. This isn't just awareness, it's cortical restructuring. The brain's executive centers, particularly in the prefrontal cortex, begin to override limbic control. You begin to notice that your stress response becomes calmer, less impulsive. Sexual signals lose their grip. They no longer command you, but observe you from a distance. This adjustment is not abrupt, but genuine, and it marks only the beginning. You are laying the foundation for what will come next. Second stage, from the 31st day to the 180th day. By the second month, your thinking begins to transform. It's not just more intense or more obvious, but a different flow. The brain stops chaotically jumping from one idea to the next. A rhythm emerges. The area responsible for organizing and controlling impulses, the dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, begins to function more harmoniously. This area, previously saturated by excessive stimuli and scattered dopamine, regains clarity. Suddenly, maintaining a long-term goal becomes easier. And it's not just a matter of keeping it in mind, but also of organizing the actions necessary to achieve it. This isn't a passing burst of motivation, it's a solid structure. You begin to move with a mind that can follow what it initiates. Your performance improves subtly but noticeably. Speaking feels more natural. Deciding no longer involves an internal struggle. You're no longer just reacting. You're coordinating. This state is called prefrontal flow, a neurological rhythm where goals, actions, and awareness synchronize. This phenomenon has been observed in athletes, strategists, and creators who reach peak performance levels. The practice of semen retention opens this avenue because it prevents the drain of neuronal energy caused by compulsive discharges. Instead of struggling to restore its chemical balance, the brain is able to send clear signals, and the stronger this signal, the stronger your willpower becomes. Sleep begins to play a different role. It's no longer just rest, but a rebalancing process. As hormonal decline slows and the endocrine system stabilizes, REM sleep deepens. This phase is crucial because it integrates emotional memories and lasting learning. The more vivid your dreams become, the more awake your active hours seem. This is no coincidence. It allows your brain to function properly. Hormones like melatonin and testosterone return to their natural rhythms, undisturbed by nighttime disturbances or emotional storms. A person whose dreams and internal chemistry are in harmony becomes difficult to disturb. There's also the strange beauty of dream clarity. Dreams once forgotten now leave a trace, and this matters more than we realize. Your hippocampus, key to memory and spatial perception, relies on dream activity to archive what matters. But more importantly, it prepares what comes next. When dream recall improves, it's not an illusion. It's a sign that the mind is successfully constructing internal simulations. This results in better visualization, more accurate anticipation, and better foresight. It's as if your inner strategist is finally taking a step forward. And we're only halfway there. The system hasn't reached its peak. It's simply awakened in the third phase, from day 191 to day 400. At this point, after 180 days, something irreversible happens. You no longer perceive restriction as an effort. It becomes instinctive. There's no more inner struggle. No more need for self-convince. What once felt like self-denial. Now we feel a sense of self-control. We begin to perceive the subtle undercurrent of energy in conversations, crowds and glances. Every room we enter receives immediate nonverbal feedback. We don't force presence. We are presence. Our mind no longer gravitates toward distraction, impulse, or approval. Your nervous system, once accustomed to seeking short-term comfort, now remains silent. This isn't repression, it's restraint. And from this restraint, power begins to seep into everything you do. The person who reaches this stage no longer mimics self-confidence. The emotional reactions of others no longer dictate their position. Disagreements don't disrupt its axis. In fact, the more chaos sets in, the more it slows down. Why? Because masculine energy, in its integrated form, isn't about volume or posture, but about gravity. When your emotions don't dissipate at the first sign of tension, others adapt to you. This is the emergence of emotional leadership. You don't control people by force. You create internal boundaries so clear that outside noise fades naturally. This isn't arrogance. It's earned calm, and calm is rare. After 400 days, identity isn't just reinforced, it's redefined. This man isn't speaking a borrowed language. He's not positioning himself to be taken seriously. His silence carries more weight than the screams of others. Seminal withholding no longer seems like a method to him. It has become an extension of how he perceives himself. He is attuned to this energy. He senses when to speak, when to withdraw, and when to act. Emotional manipulation rebounds on him, not because he is defensive, but because his system has no empty space to hold on to. The architecture of the masculine archetype is no longer an aspiration. It is internal and not temporary. Let us now examine the scientific and practical aspects that support this transformation. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize itself and form new neural connections, plays a fundamental role in this process. When a man regularly practices semen retention, he literally reshapes his brain at the molecular level. Neuroscientific studies have shown that delayed gratification strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and long-term planning. This area of the brain weakens in the face of constant instant gratification, particularly during compulsive behaviors related to sexual pleasure. During the first 30 days, the brain undergoes what neuroscientists call homeostatic adaptation. Dopamine receptors, desensitized by overstimulation, regain their natural sensitivity. This explains why many men experience a heightened sensitivity to life's simple pleasures, such as a sunset, a meaningful conversation, or the taste of a well-prepared meal. The endocrine system also undergoes profound changes. Contrary to popular belief, testosterone doesn't build up in a linear fashion. Rather, its levels stabilize within an optimal range that promotes mental clarity, physical energy, and emotional stability. Studies have shown that men who practice periods of sexual abstinence experience hormonal fluctuations that eventually stabilize at healthier and more sustainable levels. Growth hormone production is also enhanced during deep sleep, which improves significantly with abstinence. The pituitary gland releases more growth hormone. This hormone is essential not only for muscle development, but also for cellular repair and cognitive function. Men who practice growth hormone withholding often experience better sleep quality and more vivid dreams. Directly related to these hormonal changes, the psychological aspect is equally fascinating. Self-determination theory suggests that humans have three fundamental psychological needs: autonomy, competence, and connection. The practice of semen retention directly enhances a man's sense of autonomy when he can control one of his most primal and powerful urges. He develops a deep confidence in his ability to direct his life. This autonomy translates into what psychologists call internal control freaks. Instead of feeling like a victim of circumstances or his impulses, he develops a firm belief in his ability to influence his destiny. This mindset is essential for success in all areas of life, from relationships to business. This practice also develops what is known as uncertainty tolerance. Many men use sexual release as a form of escape from anxiety and stress. By removing this outlet, they are forced to develop more mature and effective coping mechanisms. They learn to accept discomfort and manage difficult emotions without escaping into instant pleasure from an energetic perspective, although Western science does not fully explain this. Many Eastern traditions have recognized the concept of life energy, or life force, for millennia. In Chinese Taoism, it is called that. In Hinduism, it is called leaves. These traditions assert that sexual energy is one of the most refined forms of life force, and that its conservation and transmutation can lead to higher states of consciousness and abilities. Sexual transmutation, a concept popularized by Napoleon Hill in Start and Grow Rich, refers to the process of channeling sexual energy toward creative and productive goals. He observed that many of the most successful men of his time had learned to channel their sexual energy toward their professional and creative ambitions. In practical terms, this translates into increased intensity and focus at work. Men who practice retention often report more frequent and intense periods of flow states of consciousness, where they feel completely absorbed in their activity. This state of flow is considered by many psychologists to be the pinnacle of human performance. This practice also profoundly influences interpersonal relationships. When a person is not constantly wasting their energy on compulsive urges, they are more available to others. Their listening skills improve, their patience grows, and their ability to be fully present in the moment intensifies. This is particularly noticeable in romantic relationships. Many men find that their attraction to women becomes more selective, yet more intense, rather than being drawn to superficial stimuli. They develop a deeper appreciation for qualities such as intelligence, character, and emotional compatibility. Sexual polarity also intensifies. When a man doesn't consistently release his masculine energy, it accumulates and becomes refined. Women, especially those sensitive to subtle energy, often perceive this difference unconsciously. There is a presence, a solidity, a quiet confidence that exerts a magnetic attraction. However, it is crucial to understand that seminal retention is not just abstinence. Simply suppressing sexual urges without transmutation can lead to repression and psychological imbalances. Effective practice requires the development of alternative channels for this energy. Intense physical exercise, persuasion, meditation, service to others, and developing deep relationships. Physical exercise becomes especially important. Accumulated sexual energy needs a physical outlet. Men who practice retention often feel naturally drawn to more intense workouts, such as weightlifting, martial arts, and long-distance running. All of these activities provide natural channels for energy transmutation. Meditation also plays a crucial role. Contemplative practice helps develop the ability to observe impulses without automatically reacting to them. This skill, called metacognition or metacognitive awareness, is essential for long-term self-control. Many practitioners develop elaborate morning routines, including meditation, exercise, journaling, and visualization. These practices not only help channel pent-up energy, but also establish an intentional and controlled attitude for the entire day. Creativity is also profoundly affected. Creative energy and sexual energy are closely linked. Many artists, writers, and entrepreneurs have noticed a significant increase in their creativity during times of restriction. Ideas flow more freely, concentration deepens, and perseverance in long-term projects is strengthened. It's also important to address common challenges and obstacles. The first few days can be particularly difficult, with increased anxiety, irritability, and sexual obsession. These symptoms are normal and usually temporary, but they can be intense. It's essential to implement coping strategies. Information about the process is also crucial. Understanding that waiting at each stage helps normalize the experience and maintain motivation during difficult times. Many men give up practicing during the first few weeks because they don't understand that the initial discomfort is part of the rehabilitation process. Social support can be invaluable. Although finding suitable communities can be difficult, online forums can provide support and accountability. But it's important to distinguish between healthy communities focused on personal development and those that may promote unhealthy attitudes toward sexuality. Long-term practice requires flexibility and self-kindness. Occasional lapses don't negate the benefits accrued, and a perfectionist attitude can be counterproductive. The goal is to develop a more conscious and intentional relationship with sexual energy, not to suppress it completely and permanently. The physical benefits are also significant. Many practitioners report improvements in physical energy, skin quality, posture, and overall physical presence. While some of these effects may be subjective or related to lifestyle changes, others have solid scientific foundations. Abstinence can also improve sexual function in the long term. Contrary to popular belief, periods of abstinence can increase the sensitivity and intensity of future sexual experiences. This is due to the resensitization of neurological receptors and the accumulation of sexual energy. In the workplace, the effects are particularly noticeable. Increased focus, perseverance, and confidence translate directly into improved professional performance. Many men report significant professional advancements through regular practice. Calculated risk-taking also increases, with greater self-belief and confidence in one's abilities. Men are often more inclined to seize challenging opportunities or undertake new projects. This willingness to act is essential for success in any competitive field. Ultimately, semen retention is much more than just a physical practice. It's a path to personal mastery and the fulfillment of masculine potential. Remember that true strength is not measured by what you can take, but by what you can contain and transform.